Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. So, this episode was another good episode. So weird. I'll watch GH, and then I'll watch Days. And on times like this, I'm just kind of looking and I'm just like, GH, you see what Days is doing? You need to be doing that, okay? I don't know what you guys are doing. You're hot for a hot minute. And now you just went to, well, whatever you went to, but you need to kind of get back on track because they're doing really good, and you need to follow suit. Oh, wow. What should I start off with first? Alright, let's start off with this whole Kristen thing, because that was probably the most exciting part about this whole thing. So Kristen, once again, is not there driving. Kate wakes up, Kate starts fighting with Kristen while she's driving. Because for some odd reason, that's a good idea. So Kristen's distracted. Meanwhile, Brady's not there trying to head to try to find Kristen. They narrowly miss each other. But Brady swerves off and hits a tree. And, well, Kristen is just, well, I was just going to say she's pissed off, but, like, when is she not ever really mad? Anyway, they start fighting again, and Kristen, once again, gets another needle, while Kate is not there trying to do her best at choking the life out of her. She pricks her with the needle, and for a good minute, it seemed like, Kate is back out, like, back sleeping or whatever. But somehow she managed to get the door open and she jumped out of a moving car. I'm sitting there thinking, how fast was this chick going before you decided, alright, cool. Let me just jump out of a moving car because that's not going to do any sort of damage or internal organs or anything like that. So she literally just plops out. And Kristen at this point, she's pissed. Now, Brady is hurt again. Here's the irony of this. Kristen wanted to pretty much kill Chloe because she quote-unquote put Brady's life in danger. This whole BS scheme that Kristen is doing, you literally got this man killed because you're trying to protect him from Chloe. And you nearly got him killed. I don't understand how this woman operates. I feel like she's on a different plane of reality than how everyone else operates. I mean, I've said this to a point where it's just becoming kind of annoying as far as like why she's going out of her way to try to get a man, in her life that, well, if this guy's going to cheat, he's going to cheat. Doesn't matter what you do, but okay, sure. And Brady, out of all people, guy kind of comes across as a moron, to be honest. But at the same time, that kind of works towards her favor, because I mean, how many people could sit there and say, yes, I'll be with someone who stabbed my grandfather in the heart? So whatever. I guess I kind of just answered my own question, to some extent. But yeah, so he's seriously injured. He managed to call 911. Now, while that's going on, Chloe figured out that Sammy was Dr. Dunn, or whatever his name is for real. And she remembers that from 15 years ago. Which is quite a memory, because some people don't even remember what they had for breakfast. But this woman remembered Dr. Dunn from 15 years ago. Also, Sammy is not as smart or as clever as she thinks she is, because she used the exact same words when she was playing Dr. Dunn. I think that's his name is. And before, when she was being Sammy, it's not there saying the exact same words. So Chloe figured it out. Sammy's in denial. Lucas is practically ready to sit there and say, yeah, you got me, but for some odd reason, he just keeps going on with the charade, barely. And he's like, yeah, I'm dying, like, for real. So they're going at it, and Kayla comes in. Kayla's like, "Oh, good, you're here." Well, he's in the hospital. He's coming to the hospital, whatever. So Chloe rushes to Brady's side. She's like, "Oh, well, can I see him?" So she rushes there, and now Lucas is like, "Listen, I'll try to find out what's going on, and make sure everything's okay with her brother or whatever." There was one point, I don't remember who said what, so I don't even know if I should sit there and talk about this, but somebody was like, we should sit there and make sure that Brady's okay. But then they were just like, alright, no, but we gotta sit there and figure out the plan though. I was like, your brother could be dying. I think that's kind of more important than your little BS marriage with EJ. Listen, I don't know their relationship. I'm in late in the game, but I would sit there and think that Sammy's probably more worried. I think she should be more worried about her brother nearly dying than Kristen spilling the beans on her tryst with Lucas. But plot and priorities. Plot, pretty much. So yeah, they bring in Brady. Chloe. I feel like this is a scene where they were just like, you know what? Listen, if she couldn't nail this the first 4 times, we're gonna go whatever take works. So there's one point where Kayla's like, listen, you can't be in here, whatever. Why is it so loud? Now Brady starts coding. Okay, he literally flatlines, and Chloe's like, no, you can't die on me. You have to live. And just the way she delivered that line, it was just like, are you... really? Listen, I know it's soap opera acting and... it's soap opera acting, so I feel like that's the one thing you should be good at. And I'm not saying that her performance sucks, all in general, but this particular scene... it just seemed like there was just very little to no emotion. No, you can't die on me, Brady. You have to make it. I'm like, so we just didn't bother to read. We just kept this in. Okay, all right. I'm even bothering with this one. I don't even have words to express just how flat that came across. I was just like, so, okay. Oh, wow, that was something. Anyway, Sammy's on the phone also. She's sitting there talking. Well, at first, she tries to get Sammy to come over to help to find Kate, but Sammy's like, listen, Brady's been in the hospital. There was a car accident, he swerved and everything like that, and so, he's going to be at the hospital soon. Now, Chloe's like, oh, that swerving thing. Yeah. Like, now she's feeling, like, bad or whatever. Like, but he has to be okay, right? So she goes there to the hospital in a Kate mask. Because why not at this point? I felt like it would have been better for her to go in the Susan mask, but I guess she didn't have it on hand, so she went with whatever, like, she had on hand, which was the Kate mask. So she walks in there, she's cold as hell to Lucas, and she's just like, no, I don't really care about this right now. I want to sit there and see how Brady's doing. She just walks past both of them. Now, Sammy knows what's going on, but Lucas is like, I'm not dying, but I'm pretty sure I just told her I'm dying, and she seemed like she didn't care at all. Like, at all. So, but never mind. I think I just answered my own question. But yeah, he's just like, what is going on? He doesn't know that that's Kristen at the time. So, yeah. Now, of course, Chloe's sitting there at Brady's bedside, holding his hand and everything like that. And I'm just like, I feel like I can almost give it to the past because, listen, if y'all not going to be lovers or anything like that, you could be a really good friend. But I'm pretty sure when Kristen walks in that room, she's not going to see it that way. Which is kind of funny because you put him in that bed, but sure, whatever. Should be interesting. Jake is just on another level. I don't really understand this guy. Listen, I like Jake, but he tends to do things that sometimes you're just like, bro, you're kind of an ass. Like, like for real. Like he's all mean to Gabby, whatever. You know, he's like, oh, go get to drink yourself or whatever. But then he's sitting there talking about how Kate's left and everything like that. And this guy decides, oh, well, she left, so, you're still here. So he tries to kiss her, and she's like, after she slaps him, she's like, yo, listen, I'm not gonna be Kate Sloppy Seconds. What are you, nuts? Like, going, and you know, she even says this later on, it's like, going after, like, your ex when, like, going after somebody when you just got dumped is just not a good look. Like, what are you doing? Like, I mean, she's losing at this schooling him on the do's and don'ts of, like, I guess his jackassery. But yeah, he literally sat there and tried to kiss her. I'm like, bro, are you kidding me? That is such a scumbag move. So she slaps him. She goes upstairs in the room. And then Jay comes in there with, you know, her drink or whatever that he made for her. So it's like, can he talk or whatever? And she's like, alright, fine. And in his own way, sorta, he kind of apologized to, one second. He apologized to her. You know, he's like, you know, listen, I'm sorry for what I did. And he talks about love and how, you know, he's hurt and stuff like that. And Gabby's like, listen, you need to kind of just get over it, you know. So she gives him this whole speech. And one of the things I did like what she was there saying was that she was there talking about making your own luck, you know, like, you know, as far as like finding the one or finding your one true love or whatever. And sometimes it's not just one true love, like there's multiple of them, you know, like it's not just set in stone. And sometimes you have to make your own luck, and I do like that, and that should be like on a t-shirt or something. You know, I was sitting there saying, like, if I ever really start to get really popular with these reviews and stuff like that, and I start selling merch, you know, I was sitting there talking about that with GH, I feel like that should be on a shirt. Make your own luck. Pretty sure somebody already coined that, but if they didn't, that will be an idea. From Gabby. You all know how I feel about Gabby, but that's a good one. So they talk, and Jake somewhat feels better. But here's the thing. He didn't learn a damn thing from what happened downstairs. Because he literally says in the same breath, like, oh, well, you know, maybe Kate leaving was a good thing, and, you know, it'll leave me somebody who can appreciate me or whatever. Like, or she says that, and he's like, yeah, and that somebody's you. I'm like, I can't even make this up. She just told you that she does not want to be Kate's sloppy seconds. This is after you try to kiss her. You go upstairs, and you try to hit on her again. After you just said, alright, well, I won't be sitting there trying to hit on you or put the moves on you or anything like that. What do you think? I'm speechless at this point. I'm just like, bro, I got nothing for you. Last scene was with the, pretty much Claire walking into the room, walking to the bar, and saying, get your hands off my cousin. And then she just starts going in on Chanel. Chanel is like this type of person that I feel like every time... And there's another scene with Paulina and... Abe, and Lonnie. And I'm going to get to that last because I felt like they just kind of threw that scene in there just to throw scenes in there. But there was one good part in there, so I'll get to that in a second. But pretty much, like, Claire, you know, really comes at Chanel, and she tells Allie about the whole, you know, them they're trying to stick, you know, her trying to stick us with the check or whatever, the bill, the $500 bill, and Chanel was just like, oh, well, you guys clearly don't have a sense of humor. I was just like, wow. But the one thing that really blew me, the one thing, and I feel like the one thing that really blew me was when Tripp says something. You know, Tripp joined in on the whole, like, you know, you try to stick us with the bill or whatever. Oh, that's what it was. When Allie was not there, when Allie, or somebody brought up the fact that, yeah, it was Allie that was not there talking about Tripp. You know, like, that was the guy or whatever. And this chick came out her mouth, this chick's no came out her mouth was like, oh, you mean that cheapskate? Now, that blew me so many different ways, because I was like, for a woman who never actually put any hard work into anything in her life, like she's been nothing but a privileged, spoiled brat, to come at Tripp and sit there and say that he was a cheapskate, I was like, wow, sweetheart, you are. It's like, you sit there and think you can't get any lower, then you just do. You really do. And the sad part is that, you know, when you make Gabby look good in my eyes compared to her, I'm speechless. I'm without speech. So they go back and forth for a little bit. There's one point where they're talking about the kiss, and Allie comes out her mouth and says to Tripp, were you spying on me? And I'm sitting there thinking, Allie, you are not that important. At all. Like, was you just having, like, a brain fart or something? Because you're not that cute, okay? And you're not worth the time, but whatever. The fact that she came out of her mouth and said that, I was like, wow, okay, sweetheart. But anyway, they go out there, Tripp and Allie. And long story short, they, you know, Tripp was like, listen, I know I shouldn't say this, but I'm the guy that you were talking about with Chanel, right? And at first, she didn't say anything. She wasn't going to say anything in the beginning. But I felt like Tripp was like, listen, one of us got to say something, so I'll just throw it out. And of course, Allie's like, listen, it's going to be weird, because here's the thing. She can't forgive herself for the fact that she nearly ruined this man's life, for accusing him of doing that thing, and she wasn't even sure herself. You know, it's really funny. I was getting so much smoke, so much blowback from me going hard at Allie because of that whole thing. And it was one, I'm not going to say it. There was one goddamn idiot that came out their mouth, because I don't know if it's he or she, that came out their mouth and was like, I'm going to report your channel because you're an idiot. And this is the reason why women don't come forward. And I was like, okay, clearly throughout my review, you must have, like, I don't know where your mind went. But the reason why I was so angry, it wasn't just a simple fact that, like, I knew that this guy was innocent and they kept coming at him sideways. No. That's not why I was angry with her. I was angry with her because she wasn't even sure. The whole time, she kept sitting there saying it like, well, it was you. It had to be you. You're the last person I remember. You know, like she wasn't 100% sure. And that was the whole reason why I came out her sideways. Because I was like, listen, if you ever accuse anyone of something like that, you better make goddamn sure you know what 100% that this person did it. Because if it comes out that they didn't do it, the damage is already done. You ruined this guy's life forever. Okay, there's no amount of apology, there's no amount of money, there's no amount of anything. Unless you have a goddamn time machine, there's nothing you can do to reverse the damage that you cause. And I know I'm kind of going off on a tangent, but she was kicking herself for that, and I was like, I can't sit there and say that I feel bad for you kicking yourself, because, you know, you deserve it. You deserve kicking yourself for you accusing him without you being sure yourself. Just make that clear. But anyway, you know, Tripp is like, listen, it is what it is. We kind of already just, like, it's done. We know the circumstances behind it. And I'm not upset with you. So I at least sit there like, yo, listen, I just want... Tripp is like, listen, let's just stop talking. Stop talking. They kissed. Chanel walks up, decides to be a cockblocker because, well, that's... I don't even really know at this point. And she's like, alright, bye. Now, granted, she's sitting there still arguing with Claire. And there's one point where Claire's like, so, you gonna pay for that bill? Like, what's good? And, you know, Chanel's like, oh, well, Allie says she has it. And there was one point where Chanel came out of her mouth, and listen, I don't know how true this is. She came out of her mouth, she was like, well, you must live a sheltered life or whatever. And I'm just sitting there thinking, well, what kind of life have you lived? Because you seem like you lived a very privileged life yourself. To be honest, you seem like you're much more sheltered than her, but okay, you know what? Sure. They went back and forth, back and forth. There was one point where Claire was like, listen, I should call the cops on you. And, well, she doesn't, so I don't even know why she said that. And she walked out, and that pretty much ended that. She said bye to Allie, said I'll pay for drinks next time when I get a job, which will be probably, who knows at this point. Allie leaves, and Trip smiles, and that pretty much ends that. And then there's some scenes with Lonnie. I'm not gonna lie, there's the scenes with Lonnie sitting there talking to Abe, and Lonnie's like, well, do we even know if Pauline's coming back? I mean, she didn't say anything, she didn't call, she didn't say anything about the twins. I mean, your whole plan to sit there and try to get her this deal or whatever, it might have been a waste of time. And I'm sitting there thinking, where did that energy come from? Like, this just seems so out of left field. I mean, are you upset that the fact that your cousin is staying with you because, well, you don't want her to stay with you, and you kind of don't want her to be a problem for you, and you just kind of want to just shift the problem back to your aunt? Is that it? Like, why are you coming at him with this energy? This whole scene was somewhat pointless because Paulina called and was like, hey, listen, I'm coming back to Salem. Want to take care of this business. So, with that being said, they talk for a little bit, they hang up. Now, Paulina got plans, you know, this whole renovation thing and jobs and everything like that, that she was not there saying that she was talking to Abe about. Well, she got some plans that seems like it's a little bit more, I don't want to say nefarious, but she seemed like she was not telling him everything about this whole plan, you know, of renovating the square and stuff like that. So she looked at some blueprints. I don't know what it is, but well, it should be something. It'd be really interesting if she actually became the villain. That would be good. That would be good. And I honestly tell you the truth, I hope like they make her a good villain, not just one-dimensional. What's her name? Jan Spears. Like, they actually make her a good villain if they're gonna do that. So I guess time will tell. With that being said, let me just double check something. With that being said, I'm gonna go. I appreciate everyone who's watching this video because I know it came out super late, Mondays and all. So I appreciate people that's watching today or tomorrow. Let me know what your thoughts are. Have a good day or good night. Have a good day and good night. I will see you in the next video. Just totally messed up my outro.